I didn't know you were watching me. All right. Hey, you must be here, ready to learn. Welcome back to Math Quest. All right. Hey, today I'm going to show you how to use the quadratic formula. Ooh, I just noticed something. This side says how to use the quadratic equation. It should say quadratic formula. You don't use an equation, you use a formula. There we go. How to use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations. All right. You know me. Get your notebook ready, get a pencil ready, because you need to participate when you're learning math. Otherwise, at the end of this video, you're going to forget everything I just said. And I got some good information. All right. All right, let's get to it. So if we're going to use the quadratic formula, we need to identify the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. That is the formula. The easiest thing is to plug the numbers in because it's really just plug and play, right? So we're going to plug in. But in order to do that, we must know what A, B, C are. So A is this, B is this, and C is this, always. So notice where I put the A. I put the A here, not on top of the X, because the X is not my A. It's the number in front of the A. And when there's nothing there, there's actually a 1 right there. We just don't write it. So there's a 1 there. Here for B, we have a negative 3. And for C, we have a negative 7. So those are the numbers we're going to plug in here. So let's start with the first one. We must plug in for negative B. And notice my value is negative 3. So negative and negative is going to give me a positive 3. So right here, I'm going to have a positive 3. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is negative 3 to the second power minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 7. And all of this is going to be divided by 2 times a, which happens to be 1. That's it. It's the easiest part of it. It's just plugging in. Now, if you happen to have one of these calculators, even the other one, the 30, the X30 or something like that. I don't know. But this is the one you should use if you have algebra or you're going beyond. You should invest in one of these. You can plug the whole thing in. I don't like to do it because if you mess one of the things up, you don't use the correct parentheses, you're going to get it wrong. So let's just solve it manually. Here we go. So I'm going to have 3. By the way, this 3 right here, I don't do anything with it other than rewrite it until the very end. So 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared, which is 9, minus negative 4 times 1 times a negative 7, which is a 28. And that's going to be a positive 28. All right. That's what I have there. And all of that gets divided by 2. Now, I have 3 plus or minus. Now, 28 plus 9 is 37. So I have 37, excuse me, that's the square root of 37 divided by 2. At this point, I'm actually done. I have what is called the exact answer. Now, I want to show you why we have plus or minus here. We have plus or minus because we have 3 plus the square root of 37 divided by 2. And I also have 3 minus the square root of 37. Oops, that should be a 7 divided by 2. So you get 2 answers. You'll always get 2 answers. And these are my exact answers in extended form. This is my exact answer in short notation. Now, sometimes they'll tell you to factor all the way to get an approximate answer. Okay, let's get an approximate answer. For that, we're going to use these the wavy lines of an equal sign. I wonder, there should be a proper name for that. Approximation symbol, maybe? Not important for this. So for this time, I don't know what the square root of 37 is, so I'm going to punch it in here. I'm going to do the first one, which is 3 plus the square root of 37 divided by 2. And I get approximately 4.54138, blah, 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 blah. But we're approximating, so I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth. So that's 4.54 is what I would get. And let's do the other one. 3 minus the square root of 37 divided by 2. And I'm going to get approximately negative 1.54, blah, 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 blah. So we're going to run it at the hundredths place, and that's negative 1.54. 4. And those are my approximate answers. So if they ask you for approximate answers, use your calculator and put that into the calculator, and you'll get this out, which is your approximate answer. If they just want an exact answer, leave the prime number, which is 37, under the radical, and leave the whole thing alone there. You're done. All right? Hey, I hope it's making sense. Here's the next one. Now, go ahead. You saw what I did now. You should have your notes. Write this down, pause the video, try to solve it on your own. Then come back to see if you got the right answer. Follow me step by step. Here I go. I'm assuming that you try to solve it on your own already. So I'm going to start solving it. Let's write down the quadratic equation, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. What I'm going to do, when I first started learning this, it used to help me to write the a, the b, and the c here so that I can plug them in correctly. Otherwise, I would mess up. So I recommend you do that as well. So let's do it. Negative, again, I have a negative b. I had a negative 13, which is going to give me a positive 13, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is negative 13 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 42. This is what I have here, and all of that gets divided by 2 times a, which happens to be 1. All right, from here, just take it slow. If you want to try it on your calculator and see if you can do it, I recommend try it because it's going to work out a lot faster for you. So let's get to it. 13 plus or minus the square root of 13 squared, I believe, is a positive 169. 13 squared, 169, that's a common number. And then you got negative 4 times 1, which is negative 4, times 42. That's not a negative number, so let's do 4 times 42. And that's going to give me 4 times 42. That's going to give me 168. So now I have 168, and it was a negative 168. That's why I left that minus sign there. And all this, again, gets divided by 2. Well, now, as you can see, this, what I really have is 13 plus or minus the square root of 1, all divided by 2. Now, you do not want to leave this like this, saying, oh, but he said this is the exact answer. Yes, it's the exact answer over here, because 37 is a prime number. That's a prime number right there. This, right? What is the square root of 1? Well, it's 1, right? 1 times 1 is 1. So therefore, what I really have here is my two answers. So we're going to solve it all the way. So we have 13 plus 1 divided by 2. And we have 13 minus 1 divided by 2. So we get here 14 divided by 2 is 7. And here we have 12 divided by 2, which is 6. These are my two answers here, my two x values. And at this point, this is my exact answer, 7 and 6. So why did I take the square root of it again? Because I was able to. Only on this one, because it was a prime number. This gives me a long decimal. That's why you leave it like this to get the exact answer. Otherwise, factor it all the way and get your final answer, 7 and 6. All right? Hey, I hope you understand it. I hope it makes sense to you. Watch the video again if you need to. Make sure you write down all these notes. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you're not writing this down at the same time I'm doing it, you're going to miss out on a lot of information. All right? So, if you got value out of this, come on, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Math Quest. Goodbye.